Okay, well, to start off, I want you to close your eyes. Alright. Now I want you to imagine a time where you were unable to communicate with your friends and family, you did not know what was going on at the time. Alright. I'll take this. Pop. It's gone. We're in the present age. Alright. It's crazy to think, but now we have so many different ways to communicate, especially now that we've been gifted Facebook. It's great. That's just my opinion. I'm here to inform you. Live and mediated communications were once vastly different. This is no longer the case. Joshua Mares. He is a sociologist and he studies the behavior of people based off of how social media affects them. And he has come up with the conclusion that today, instead of just there being direct communication is equally as viable as just second communication, such as media. It's also crazy to think, like, what was the technology of the future is now the tools of the present, and in the future will only continue to be the relics of the past. And I know from a person who has had Facebook since 10, I know we had it at the same time. So I knew from the very beginning, I was like, this is going to increase. I mean, I was only using it for video games, but it was going to increase, it was going to develop, this is going to be the big thing in the future. I always knew that. And a lot of people knew that, apparently, because Facebook has evolved. And it's important to realize that Facebook has evolved in such ways that you can now communicate differently. Businesses has also adapted to this trademark. They also market. And it's now ridiculously easy to set up your own account on Facebook. Now, I want you to think again, you don't have to close your eyes this time, of how many different ways you could communicate with your friends and family. You don't have to answer. Just think. Alright? Now hold that thought. Now, if you thought Facebook was only one of those ways, think again. There's actually 3 different ways you communicate using Facebook. These are very simple, they're very well known. Posting. That is the public distribution of information that is either private or non-private. Now, being that it's posted publicly, just be aware that you understand what you're posting and make sure it's appropriate. Same thing goes to commenting, which is a rebuttal to a post. Also, it can be positive, negative, or neutral depending on the situation. So once again, just watch your wording. Now, they've also developed, and this is new, it's like phones, they've made their own app. You might be aware of it. We actually disinstall it for you. It was Messenger. That enables you to not only text, like a regular text messaging system, but it also hooks directly up to Facebook accounts. So you no longer need a phone number in order to text someone. You can also figure out their number through their Facebook account. So you can call them and make sure that you know who they really are. It makes things so much easier. Now, if you thought that, well, if you're just now realizing that Facebook helps you in this many ways to communicate, businesses have already known this for a long time. I mean, we've seen ads, social marketing. Social marketing is used online in order to engross into the new era of people communicating. And ads, believe it or not, even though they can be very annoying at times, they're very relevant. They are based on your history. So your ads are typically going to be something that somewhat has some interest to you. And those ads consist sometimes of online shopping. That has also been a big increase. Now, if you have decided that if you ever want to go into marketing, which I don't think you will, but just hear me out. If you plan on going to marketing, it doesn't necessarily have to be in social marketing. Quote, in reality, the decision not to adopt social setting strategy is not a game ender. You'll certainly continue to generate leads and make sales. End quote. Shannon Bellew. She is a successful social media marketing manager. Now, she just comes to the realization that, yes, you will have more leads, but that doesn't mean that your business will suffer if you do not have one. So don't worry. Now, regardless if you want to use it for simple communication or if you want to make your business, you're going to need to know how to set up an account. So there's 3 easy steps. First, provide an email. This can be changed at any time. This can be changed at any time. The one that you provide. What will happen is, if your information just needs to be changed, send you a request. They'll give you a code. You can change it. And the information you can change. The password. Make sure it's something that's easy for you to remember, but it's also difficult to guess. This is what allows you in order to log in, but other people can if they know your email. So it's important. Or username. Most people use their name because that's what people recognize them as. It does not have to be your name. But if you want to communicate with others, it's recommended to be your name. That way people can identify you quickly. As I said many times, Facebook makes things very, very easy. I mean, you now have all these different ways to communicate. Businesses are getting in on it. They're communicating with the electronic media and are now spreading out far and wide. And it's never too late to start your own account. If you feel like the one you have is bad, you can always restart a new one. Now, I get what you might say. I've been sugarcoating a lot of things, and I might be making everything seem like it's too good to be true. And there are some negatives. Like, some people have the idea that, well, there's so much negativity on social media that why would I want to start it? Especially with young teenagers and young adults such as like myself. Well, researchers have come up with this conclusion. Quote, "The media's presentation of youth falsely suggests that youth today are the most violent, sexual, and immoral youth culture in history." End quote. Cheryl Nicholas and Thomas L. Good. These are their own researchers that study into social media to disprove that even though there are some leads that show this, it does not represent the entire age group that they supposedly suggest. Remember, not all media is true. However, everything that I've told you is the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you.